Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing something different than I usually do on my channel, and I'm going to be doing a commentary video. This is the first time I've ever really done commentary, so I don't know how good I'll be at it at first, but it's something I want to try and work on. I always had issues before with background noise that really stopped me from doing commentary, and I think I've gotten them dealt with for the most part. You might still hear some stuff occasionally, but I think I've done as much as I can. So today I'm going to be doing a Lambda run and trying to teach people a lot about Lambda. It's not going to be possible for me to show everything about her in just one run, but I'll try to cover a lot. So this is the Mind Crystal setup I'm using right now. Usually you would want to only go attack damage or skill damage, but I'm running both of them because I'm gonna just kind of be taking whatever potentials I see. I'm not gonna be going for a specific build in either direction. MP plus 40 is always really good on any character, really, but especially on characters that are using skills a lot. And then combo going up by 10, or whenever the combo goes up, the damage is increased by 4%, is something that's really good on Lambda specifically, because we'll see how many hits she starts to deal. I've had my combo meter up in the 1,000, above that even, when I'm not taking hits. And then rest can remove debuffs is only for if you're using a specific entropy effect. If you're not, just take that one off. And then more damage to elites is also universally good. Normally you would want some kind of something like HP mixtures restore extra health, or having extra mixtures, or there's one where you get an extra revive. Normally you'd want one of those in place of one of my damaging slots, but I'm not worried about losing this run at all. I'm not running anything too dangerous, like having the upgraded elite enemies, and I'm not maxing out the damage, so I'm not worried about this run at all. Those are going to be my famous last words when I somehow throw the run. For Lambda, I'm taking Attack Lightning, Frost Explosion, and Frost Burst, and Skill Cold. The characters don't really matter as much, though Jin is very universally good, so I use him in almost every single run. Mai's legacy ability is really good, and her passive is going to be helping out for Lambda as well, but I'm not taking it specifically for her. I'm using her because of the legacy skills, or the tactics she has, I mean. I believe I forgot to start the music, so let me do that. And let me make sure it's capturing it properly. At the start of the game for Lambda, there's a couple really good combos that you can do even from the beginning. Just basic attack into hold attack, and then dash attack is the one that I like. But there's two parts to the basic attack. You can use both of them if you want. I find it a little bit slower to do, so I like it just either going into the dash attack straight out of the basic one, or doing the hold attack and then the dash. Any combination of these will really work well for you. Ooh, we're getting a good skill right out of the bat. That's good. So this one, you hold your skill button, you open a portal, and a lot of blades start to hit. Now, before we move on, I want to point out, look at the combo counter already, down in the bottom right of the screen. It's at 207, and I only did one room without any potentials. That's how strong the combo game is from Lambda. Now, if you're really new at the game, that might be something you want to not take, because if you take damage, your combo meter runs out, or if you don't hit anything for too long. You can go ahead and weave in some skill casts in between. I don't feel like her skills, or the default version of her skill, is really that fun to use for some reason. I'm not sure why. But there's a lot of combinations of where, like, you knock them away with the hold attack and then follow up with skill that make it more fun to use. Oh, he died. The other thing you can do with Lambda early game is turn her into a blender. I'll explain that in a second. I'm going to be doing something for this video where I discard most of the tactics, unless it's something I really want. And that's going to allow me to buy a lot more potentials throughout the run. Now, I mentioned earlier where with the Entropy setting, where you gain buffs every area, you use the Mind Crystal in the rest stations to just completely negate that. Alright, time to show off, oh, if I can stop getting hit. Here's the blender! Hang on. Blender Lambda. That's what I want to call it. All you gotta do is jump and then immediately attack. You'll do your air attack so close to the ground that you can just immediately do another one. Really, really good. Ooh. This is a hard choice. This one's really good because it buffs everything else you get. But I don't really have anything else right now. Oh man, this one's... this is unfortunate. This is the same case where this one is one of the best things for Lambda. But it becomes really good once I get this one, so... I think I'll go with the Universal Universal, because it will go into any other build that I get. Normally, if I was doing a specific run, I would have went for the up attack one. Oh, here's a really important one. What else do we have here? Okay, nothing else really worth taking. When I talk about different attacks, I'm going to try to use certain terminology. And that's going to be attacks, hold attacks, dash attacks, and skills. And then I'm going to say things like up skill or up attack. I'll explain things, just give me a minute to look at the potentials. Triple dash is always really good to take, just for the mobility, and you get a lot more iframes. It's a really hard pick between these two. I think I'm coming up on a boss, so I'm gonna be... I want the triple dash. So the reason why I'm gonna use terms like up attack, down attack, is because it's a lot more universal. If I said instead of like up skill, if I called it by the name Luminous Slave, you might not know what that means. But if I say up skill, it's really obvious of how to use it. And I want to make sure I say up skill instead of, in my case, it's up B, but some people might be playing with different controls or different controllers. So I'll do my best to always use the same terminology as best as I can. Really, my goal with the commentary is going to be to try and teach people things about the character and about the game itself. I feel like I don't see these enemies as often as some of the other ones. I didn't even realize they had super armor on their attacks, so I took some really stupid damage there. I don't think I've showed off my portal yet, but now is the time where we're gonna see it. There's a really good opportunity to use Jin's Legacy. It held the boss in my skill and also played his attack. I didn't think I was in the range of the fire there. Nice, got a pretty good ending of that fight. I think I didn't take damage outside of the fire either. Nice, I got my up attack that I wanted. Her up attack is probably one of the best things in the game. Or not in the game, but I mean one of the best things that you can get in your Lambda runs. You can really go for like skill builds or attack builds or both. The up attack is a little underwhelming without that other universal upgrade that I talked about, where everything summons more blades. But even without that, it's pretty good. You can see how many hits that's racking up, and that's dealing a lot of damage. It's also synergizing with the chain lightning attacks that I have. And that's one of the things that makes Lambda very strong with how tactics are right now. I'll explain it in a minute. Let me finish off the enemies. The bounces are good for enemies, but I don't really have any problems killing enemies. I just would rather take something that makes it deal more damage to bosses. So the tactics that are really good right now are Skill Cold with Frost Burst and Attack Lightning. Chain Lightning in general just tends to be really good. And most of the reason for that is just how often you can proc them. Whereas if I had something like Light Spears or Blade Storms on my skill, there's a cooldown. But with Skill Cold, I can sit there and proc it as fast as my character will allow me to. There doesn't really seem to be any cooldown on the stacking of it or the Frost Burst itself. And same thing for the Attack Lightning, where every 5 hits I'm dealing it without any cooldown. Especially once you start putting those onto a character like Lambda, where I'm dealing this many hits. It's one of the things that really makes her one of the strongest characters in the game right now. I'm really surprised I haven't seen her mentioned more. Usually I see Ragna mentioned often as being one of the strongest. Noelle is extremely strong as well. But I think any character is really capable in this game. I guess I'll go ahead and take this. It's Kind of a boring upgrade, but it's a good upgrade. Yeah, there's really no character that just really feels too weak to finish even a 100 entropy run. I'm really comfortable with taking black market stuff on these entropy settings. Like I said at the beginning of the run, there's a very, very low chance that I'm gonna fail this run. I really should be using my skill more often, but I just start having so much fun with her combo attacks, so I forget to use them. Ah, something weird happened there. I need to explain that. I'll try to explain it after I clear this area. If I remember. There's a chance I just forget. Okay. There's something with Lambda that I haven't seen on other characters. Where sometimes she'll bounce when she hits the ground. I think I'm hitting yeah. It's just if you jump immediately when you touch the ground, you can jump again immediately. I'm pretty sure that's specific to Lambda. But maybe it's just something I never noticed before. I don't know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But what happened back in the middle of that room is that I just tried to dash down to the ground, and it bounced and put me right into a spike. Not a big deal. Oh wow. This isn't even a choice at all. What in the world? You can remove 5 debuffs for an HP mixture, 3 debuffs for half your health, or a measly 50 exchange points? I was looking at it, like actually considering things, and then I saw the one on the left, and I'm like, okay. So basically in shops, I always want to go for max MP and potentials. I never want to spend on tactics. And now that could be different for you if you're playing at really low HP values. Or if you don't have your legacy tactics already, you might want to buy more of them. The other thing, there's a couple of really, really good buffs, and this is one of them, where every time you attack, your attacks have a chance to stun. Really good on any character, but even better on Lambda, who's spamming out hits. Let's see if we can do something here. Now I'm gonna freeze him, and then I'm going to do this. I should have waited longer to freeze him. I still got it. Okay. We're good. Really, I should have waited a little bit longer to freeze. So this upgrade here, the mini blades are shot at enemies. I've never really seen it do much. It makes them kind of home in on enemies, but it's really bad, honestly, unless they've updated it since I last played. I don't know if I've taken it in 1.0, but I used it a lot I've tried it in early access. So that might be different now. Even if the enemy was, slightly off the ground, it was just like the blades were going barely up in the air at all. They weren't going enough to really affect it. And then jumping to reset attack limit doesn't feel strong because you can just jump so low to the ground that it doesn't matter anyways. And there are other cases where you're doing like your up attack in the air, which is much better. Actually, I think you can use this to reset the up attack, so it's good, but there's an easier way to reset your... Or there's another way to reset the up attack anyways, and that's just by dashing into the ground and bouncing, like I mentioned. None of these upgrades feel good to me. You can do a build where you fully upgrade the standard attack, or the standard skill, but I don't feel like it's as fun or as strong as upgrading the portals. But it'll be up to you which one you prefer. This one is very important, especially if you're running a skill build. It allows you to stack multiple of your upskill portals. And those portals end up dealing like 2k damage each hit by the end of the run. Another reason why I've been liking to go for potentials over tactics once I have my legacy characters set up is that potentials are potentially, pun intended, a lot stronger than tactics. Hang on. Like, I think you need both for runs. You definitely need both, but there's a point at where getting more tactics is less of a damage increase than getting potentials. So, I don't think I really want any of these, even. So let me explain what I mean real quick, for those of you guys that are newer, or it's something you don't really... something that's not very noticeable. But if you go into your menu and you look at your potentials, you'll see up here it says current effects plus 140%. That's a damage increase to everything I have. Though I don't know if it scales up your tactics damage, but it scales up your character damage for sure. On top of that, there's also a separate buff that you get for each potential of the same name or type. I don't know how you want to really think about it, but there's different groups of potentials. And when you get potentials of that same type, it scales the damage of that type as well. So when you're going all in on a certain build, for example, these blades here, where I summon the portal, they're already at a 60% damage increase from having 3 of them, and then all 3 of those choices also went into my total damage here. So every time I take an upgrade for this skill, it gets a double increase in damage. So that's why I'm thinking that in runs, I need to be prioritizing potentials a lot more than I thought before. Before I thought tactics were what was really carrying me through runs, but I'm reconsidering things. Now, I think the tactics themselves really do matter. I'm not saying you can just like go a full potential and skip out on every tactic. But like I said, I think there's a point of where you have your core tactics, and it's a better choice to start getting potentials. So what I was going to say about the air attack reset thing is that I would rather just do this instead of using a potential slot on resetting it. I really don't understand what's going on with the bounce. It's not linked to me hitting jump a second time. Oh no. That's weird. Usually I don't run out of time in that room. This one's a really good one to take. It makes it where when you're doing the first part of your combo, you can move immediately and the blades will still keep attacking. I would much rather take this one. So if you're going for like a real run or a really difficult run, I would say in this situation, take this, but I'm going to show this one just for the sake of showing off more of her potentials. So now I can immediately move or attack on it. What the heck? Did I just... Huh? I just got randomly poisoned? Or... I don't think that was a poison tick that was still on me. I didn't see the poison on me. Really strange. I feel like I messed up my train of thought of what I feel like I was in the middle of explaining something, but I don't even remember what I was saying anymore because that caught me off guard. Something going on with a hidden effect that I think is throwing me off. Okay, I see what it is. Give me a minute. This room is a little bit more intense. Especially with the enemies dropping bombs from the debuffs. Okay. I don't know where I got it, but I got a hidden effect where if I just do X, or if I do attack, it starts going into that up attack chain instead. I don't really see the point. It's not really hard to do the up attack after the normal hit, and it's not like it's letting you chain into something that wouldn't be normally possible, because you can do it like that anyways. Now, there might be some background noise that just picked up right now, and it might be picking up as I'm talking now. It's the one thing that I haven't really been able to... or it's the one thing I'm not sure if it's picking up, because it happens really randomly. I usually don't take this one, but I want to try it out where universal attacks blades are larger. Universal attacks and skills is still something that's a little confusing to me. I think it really affects everything in the character, but sometimes it seems like there are some things where it doesn't. I wish I had frost attacks for this run because of the potentials I ended up getting, but oh well. Ah, that sucks. I really like the hold skill portal build, but it's really tough against bosses like this that move around. And a lot of bosses move around, like Firebite, Susano, Arakune. So now I didn't really say anything about it, but I just picked up a really dumb potential. So before, as you were doing your, the one where you cancel out of your normal attack just by moving or attacking, and the blades still attack. Now this makes it where you can have multiple of them stacked on top of each other. All you have to do is, hold forward on your control stick or your arrow keys or whatever you're using, and then just spam the attack button. They'll automatically start canceling into each other. So let's take a look at that. Does an ungodly amount of hits. It's fucking blending them. One thing I would really like to see them add is either an entropy effect that specifically buffs HP of regular enemies, or an entropy effect that makes it where more enemies spawn. Because I always run into this issue where I'm clearing out the normal enemies way too quickly, even when I'm at maxed HP like I am right now. Also, if you're running a frost build, this is a really important thing to try and get. You need all the upgrades for Ice Spikes and then Frost Burst. If an Ice Spike hits a non-cold enemy, it generates 3 spikes. It's extremely good in the mob rooms where you're killing enemies quickly. You can sometimes even just... You'll have an increase in the amount of spikes you end up at the end of the room compared to when you started. And it's also even really good for boss fights, because... hang on a second. This room can be a little bit more tricky to deal with sometimes, just because of projectiles and random stuff spawning. Oh, now I'm trying to think of what I was in the middle of saying. Shoot. Hopefully I'll remember at some point. I know I was talking about, like, the HP of enemies, but I think I finished that thought. I don't remember what I was saying after that. I think at this point I'm just gonna start discarding any other tactics I get. I've got all the frost and lightning ones I want. I don't know why I'm thinking about which selection I want. I just said I was gonna discard them. Let's take a look at the ice spikes in the room this, by the way. I'm not killing them fast enough for it to work. Even without me killing them quite fast enough, you can see that I always have spikes up. Whereas before, there was a time where there was a lot of downtime in between them spawning. In rooms like this with Lambda, you want to try to be keeping things off of you as much as possible. You don't want to let enemies get stacked on top of you. So that's why I was spamming dash attack so much. Especially with me having the triple dashes, it really allows me to just chain those together and keep everything off of me. Okay, here we go. I haven't really tried much of this one either. I usually don't end up just having enough potential slots to get it, but I think it's good. This one is really important if you take the upskill portal. So now what happens is every time I do my double jump or triple jump, it activates a hidden effect where I get the... It's a version of this portal where it homes in on an enemy. This one only does one hit, but it does way too much damage for being a free attack on my jump. I probably don't need that combo recovery, but it's 50 exchange point anyways. Speaking of combos, before it expired just then, I was at a 1800 combo, so my my Mind Shard, or Mind Crystal, was really putting in a lot of work for damage there. Man, Ori is such a pain on some characters, and then Lambda is just like, I don't care. Ooh, here's another really good thing to take up, especially if you already have the 3 dashes. Similar to the other kind of dash attack, that one's really good for helping keep enemies off of you. It'll help push them away or group them up all together so you can hit them with a skill or combo all at once. I really wish there was a way to make the regular enemies stronger without making the bosses stronger too. Not stronger in terms of like damage or anything, but I mean in health. Even the boss though, like I just fought Ori and I want to say that was 30 seconds or less. I'd be surprised if it was over 30 seconds. I'm going to take a quick break for myself. There won't be any, like, pause in the video, but there might be a quick, like, cut in the music where it sounds weird. That's probably all you'll notice. But anyways, I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. I needed to go get a drink and use the bathroom before I finish the run. Really not used to, like, talking so much, so my mouth is getting really dried out. I think in the Omega shop you really want to take a mix of max MP and potentials. This would have been good earlier, but I might have to take it anyways. Just because of the extra damage I'm getting. I get an extra 20%. I get an extra 20% to my total damage, and then 20% just to this skill itself, I'm pretty sure. Let's check and make sure that's right, but... So it's at 60% of its own damage right now, and then I'm at 240 total. Now if I look at the character again, it's at 80% and I'm at 260. So yeah, if you take a potential, you get a... Oh my god, I'm gonna make the same pun again. If you take the... This time it wasn't even intentional. The first time it was. You have the potential to get an extra 40% damage increase anytime you take a potential. Assuming that, it's a 40% damage or it's a 20% total, and then 20% for the skill you're using, but you can really easily dump everything into one skill and have that carry you. Yeah, I think I really need to start considering reconsidering the power of potentials. I should have bought MP while I was there. I backed out to check the menu. Oh well, we can pick it up later. That was really stupid. I just stood there and took the hit. I was so confident that I would just deal enough damage that I just didn't care. Now, normally when you're doing Entropy runs like this, where you have maxed out time limit and HP, a lot of times you just want to go straight to Susano, but I have plenty of time left, so I'm not worried. I'm gonna try... I really have a hard time with that move for some reason. I don't know, it's weird to me how she freezes in place with no animation and then just suddenly starts moving like that. It just throws me off. It's not something that I think is, like, hard to deal with, it just throws me off personally. Same thing with that right there. I had the same issue where her animation just seemed like it wasn't moving at all. This is a case for how strong the triple dashes are, and especially when having the Jin passive on top of that. Oh, come on. I'm trying to get portals up that'll hit her, but it's hard when she moves around. There we go. You can see once I do get that portal up that starts to hit her, my damage just goes through the roof because of the Frost Burst stacking. This is something I never really take unless I'm just trying to have fun with combos. It might be good with the second upgrade there where you can interrupt it, but I don't know. I would just rather be using my regular dash attack or upgrading my dash itself to where it becomes an attack. This I don't really use either. I think it's probably strong, it might be strong, but the portals are just so much better, it feels like, especially with the Frost Cold. So I'm just gonna refresh, I have plenty of them left. This is another one that's really good. I think, yeah, I definitely want this. I need something that can build up hits that's more consistent against bosses that move around. So yeah, I kind of mentioned this before, but when you're doing high HP and runs with a timer on them, you really gotta watch your time limit in this final area, especially if you're playing where Susano has a third phase to him, because it'll really eat through your time trying to kill all three of his phases. So if you enter this stage, usually I want to have at least 3 minutes to kill Susano if I'm doing the 3 phases. So if I see I'm at around 3 minutes when I enter the Omega stage, I just go straight for him. And a tip that you might not know for that is that if you open up your map, you can move it around, and you can actually see down there in the bottom right here, you can see where Susano is as soon as you enter this area. So you can always plan out if you want to go for him right away or not. I'm gonna go ahead and start moving towards him. I'm not really too worried about things, but I'd rather play it safe than sorry. Oops. I'm trying to... I think this is the right way. Now, if you go back and watch that again, you can look at the damage that my... Oh man, I thought I had time to get down. You can look at the damage that the portals, just from me jumping near enemies, were dealing. Here, I'll try and... It's hard to show it because the ice spikes are also sitting there hitting things. But, I'm pretty sure I saw him hit 1700. Just from jumping. And there's... let me try and get to Susano, and then I'll try and show it off in an area where I'm not running down my timer. Trying to kill some enemies along the way when possible, because they give a ton of exchange points. Okay. No, I can't show it off here. I know what I can do. Ooh, this one's a really nice one for attack builds especially. But once you have the... I feel like you can either go for this one or the up attack. They both are kind of similar in what they do. This is a good opportunity too, because I can explain what this one does. So when you're doing your charged attack, it adds additional hits onto it. Now I think the up attack is a lot better overall, but they're both good. The thing I like about the charged attack one is that I can cancel out of it into like another dash attack or something, and it doesn't cancel the blades that are hitting. But this one you can cancel it earlier, but I think it does. Yeah, if you cancel out of this one, it doesn't deal as many hits. But that being said, I think out of the two, just in terms of overall DPS, I think the up attack is a lot better. Anyways, other thing I wanted to explain with the portals. There's a technique you can do where you double attack and then you hit... double jump, I mean. Triple jump. Sorry. You triple jump, it summons two portals, and then you dash... I don't know how to explain what it is, but you hit down and jump, and it sends you down to the ground really quickly. And then Lambda has this thing where she can just jump immediately afterwards. So I'm doing 3k DPS right now, just by jumping. Really, really good. So I think a lot of the meta tactics for Lambda are just spamming a bunch of these portals on top of each other, and then jumping for one of the builds. Like I said, this portal's really good for stacking the Frost Burst, but if enemies are moving around, then it falls off. The other meta tactic is going Frost Cold and spamming that up attack that I've been using a lot. Sometimes I feel like loading screens take a lot longer than others. Right there, that one seemed to take a while. I think I will go ahead and get this one. I also want to see what the hidden effect on it is. And then I'm just gonna buy some HP. What debuffs do I have? I really should have looked at my debuffs before I started spending my money. Okay, nothing too bad. If I get lucky, I'll be able to remove the HP mixtures. Perfect. Self-recovery and afterlife bombs don't apply to Susano at all, so I don't need to worry about those. Did I have enough money? I might have had enough money for a heal, but even if I did, I don't really care enough to go back in. Alright, let's see how the Susano fight goes. I don't see it being any issue. Try and get a portal up there. Freeze him and use the dodge before he can get to where it's not hitting him. Put another one down in the corner here. I really wish I could have gotten the upgrade where the portals have longer range and can be held longer. Oh, that was... I thought he was a lot higher in the air. Oh well. I like to use my tonic right there as he's transforming. It's a really safe to... it's a really safe way to heal, and it also just makes sure that his transformation attack isn't gonna hit me. What the hell? I think the animation just got covered there by my portal and my attacks. I didn't see that he was attacking. That hit me. I feel like they need to work on the hitbox so that there's two things. It's bigger than it looks like it should be, and it lingers after the animation is done sometimes, especially if you freeze him. I've had cases where I freeze him and I get hit like a full second later. It's really weird. I'm not trying to complain about the game, I'm just trying to give like small bits of feedback wherever I can. The other good thing about the Frost build is that it ends up with really good legacy tactics for your next character if you need them. I got the Ice Spike respawn and the multi-Ice Spikes on this character, so for a character that wasn't using lightning, those two would be really strong. God damn, I got a 20-minute run with max HP in. Well, 20 minutes in-game time. Real time, it's probably around 45 minutes, just because of how much I stopped. Watch out, the safety time of the space is over. Game, I think I'm already past the point of where that matters, but thank you for warning me. And thank you, everybody, that stuck around to the end of the video. I know my commentary probably needs some work on a lot of areas, but if you want to leave me some feedback on how I can improve, I would definitely be willing to work on it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.